Jason McCartney.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I'd like to start by paying tribute to my gallant friend, the member for Qycombe, who, like myself, is a former Royal Air Force officer, because I joined him and many other members from both sides of the House in helping to secure this debate from the Backbench Business Committee, to whom we are very, very grateful indeed. Now, I shall be focusing on Kashmir. Now, I've spoken in Westminster Hall debates on Kashmir. I've also spoken at meetings of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Kashmir, but this is the first time I've had the opportunity to speak on human rights in Kashmir in this chamber, and for that I'm very grateful. Now, my Colne Valley constituency in West Yorkshire has thousands of Kashmiris living in Thornton Lodge, Crossland Moor and Lockwood, and the situation in their homeland is an issue that they raise with me on a weekly basis, so I'm very proud to be speaking on their behalf. I fully appreciate that these international issues, though, are never straightforward. So, to try and understand the dynamic of the region, I undertook a private visit to Azad, Jammu and Kashmir last November. I flew into Islamabad in Pakistan, and after delivering blankets, clothing and tents donated by the good folk of Huddersfield and Colne Valley to some of the flood-hit villages in the area of Nowshera in Pakistan, we then crossed the border into AJK. I was based in the vibrant city of Mirpur, which you're absolutely right, is a fantastic place, on the beautiful Mangal Dam Lake. I was honoured to be invited for tea at the homes of families with loved ones who live in my constituency. But their love of tea is not the only close cultural link that the Kashmiris have with the UK. When I was invited to meet the Prime Minister of Azad, Jammu and Kashmir, Sardar Atiq Khan in Dajjal, I was welcomed by their military band, complete with bagpipes and kilts. Now, I saw a beautiful and peaceful Pakistan-administered region of Kashmir. However, time and time again, though, I've been told of human rights abuses in Indian-controlled Kashmir, and we've heard of some of those in the previous hour in this chamber. Now, I fully appreciate this is a region where terrorism and security concerns are rife. And of course, in the wider region, our own previous government has been accused recently of being implicated in activities such as rendition. So things are not always black or white. And an hour ago, I bumped into a Kashmiri-based journalist in Central Lobby who I met whilst I was over there. Now, also as a former journalist, whilst I was in Kashmir, I addressed a group of 50 Kashmiri journalists at the press club in Mirpur, and I stressed to them the importance of factual reporting. Wild accusations and emotionally charged inflating of casualty figures do not help the cause of those campaigning for peace in the region. For example, yesterday I received an email telling me of hundreds of unidentified graves. The accusation was that they contain the bodies of victims of unlawful killings and torture. I have no idea whether this is true or not. We must be wary of propaganda. We must deal in facts. And that's why I welcome the Amnesty International report. Of course I'll give way.
Is the honourable gentleman aware that many Kashmiri journalists simply can't report facts because they can't get press accreditation which will enable them to go into areas where the police are in control?
Makes an excellent point. I made that point, but in not going into those areas, they must not overcompensate in wildly inflating. They must try and stick to the facts. And as a former journalist myself, sometimes I was frustrated by similar things. It can be very difficult, and the Honourable Lady makes a very good point. Yes, I'll give way.
I'm grateful to the Honourable Gentleman. The investigation into the mass graves is something that I think genuinely should be done. Does he not agree with me that if India agreed to a commission, we could actually see the reality of the claims that are being made and put to rest some of the torturous anxieties of many relatives in Kashmir who are worried about the fact that their relatives might be languishing there and that they have no rest?
The Honourable Lady must have had a sneaky peek at my speech before, because I'm coming on to that in about 20 seconds' time. As I was saying, that's why I welcome Amnesty International's report on Kashmir entitled A Lawless Law. And I would just like to highlight some of their conclusions, which I fully support. I call for a repeal of the Public Safety Act, which sees the long-term detention of those where there is insufficient evidence for trial. I call on Indian-administered Kashmir to allow peaceful protests and to exercise proper crowd control. And I call on Indian-administered Kashmir to carry out an independent, impartial and comprehensive investigation into all allegations of abuses, including the unmarked graves, including allegations of torture. And I call on the UK government to keep Kashmir on its agenda and raise these issues with the Pakistan and Indian governments whenever they meet. It should always be on that agenda. Of course, I'll give way to my honourable friend.
My honourable friend makes a powerful and well-informed speech. Does he agree with me that one of the things we must be looking for as a matter of urgency is to improve the lives of Kashmiris? And one of the ways we could do that is to improve cross-border trade between Pakistan and India again into Kashmir, and also to allow travel, particularly for family and loved ones, to visit.
My honourable friend makes a good point. There already has been some cross-border relations in opening up the border for trade, and one of the things that impressed me with Prime Minister Khan was his attitude towards commerce and jobs, and also green technologies as well. He was talking about wind turbines, which massively impressed me. Of course I'll give way.
Giving me the way. Do you agree and appreciate the initiatives taken by the both Pakistan and Indian governments that for peaceful transaction and also to meeting the ministerial level and making sure to find the peaceful formula to resolve the issue of Kashmir and other issues related to this matter?
Of course, the honourable gentleman makes a good point. His office is in my corridor. We'll probably bump into each other and talk on this many more times. Yes, we want a peaceful solution, and the best way to end war is to jaw and talk about these things, and hopefully the UK government can be part of that. And finally, some eagle-eyed colleagues and members in this chamber may have noticed the little green badge that I'm wearing here. Thank you to the member opposite. It was given to me by the Prime Minister of Assad Jammu Kashmir, and it says, "Kashmir seeks attention." Well, Mr Deputy Speaker, today Kashmir has our attention, and I think all of us here in this chamber should be very proud of that here today. Thank you.
As McCartney.